Hello everybody, my name is Connor and I am here with Purple Luffy versus Shanks. So this game happened on New Year's Day in our Sage's Portal Winner Box tournament. So if you guys know, I do struggle with the Shanks matchup, but I was able to get some practice in with my buddy Ian before the day before the tournament, and he plays Shanks, so we played open hand and went over it, and I feel like that really helped. I ended up in the 5 rounds. I played 3 Shanks, I think. So you'll be seeing some of the Shanks games. I think 2 of the 3. So we're going to go ahead and drop Law, get the 2K counter. I'm a little low on counter. As you can see, I only have 3K counter. And one thing I learned about the Shanks game, the Shanks match, is I have to rush to get my big bodies out and beat him before he gets 10. That is the best way I have found to deal with Shanks, and it's pretty close to consistent. So we're gonna go ahead and we took second here just to take that second away from Shanks, and I don't know if that was 100% worth it, but we're gonna go ahead leader ability just to ramp. We have the Zoro Juro ready to play, but I want to pressure him. I want to as I said, get to 10 down as fast as possible. So we drop the Zoro Juro, and we don't see a lot of hits. I don't think there's much we can really take in there except for the Luffy Taro. So we are going to take the Luffy Taro, getting 2 Luffy Taros in hand, but honestly, there are worse things to have 2 in hand of than Luffy Taro, and we're doing a better on counter now. So from what I've played of Shanks and what I have played against Shanks, he doesn't really have much early game, so I'm just trying to get some counter in hand so I can keep myself safe. So we're going to give him the 9 there, go to 9, get out of that. We draw into another Zoro Juro. Really solid start, honestly. We're going to be at, I believe, 7 or 8 dawn at this point. I can't do math this quickly, and I'm still trying to wake up. So we're going to poke 6 at life. Just trying to get a card out of hand. If not, have him take a life. And he is going to go ahead, take a life, go to 4. And with my Dawn, I do have a couple of options. I'm definitely thinking Luffy Taro, and I could Zoro Juro. And I do decide to Zoro Juro. Just searching. I think I'm looking for more counter. The Rush Sanji is actually really tempting here, because as I mentioned, just kind of aggressively swinging at Shanks' face is really, really appealing. So yeah, I do decide to take that. Tempted to take the blocker Sanji, but we do decide to take the Rush Sanji. I love that Rush Sanji. I think he's so good. But my opponent finally getting up to some big Dawn here. Probably going to be able to go ahead and do something here. With the 5 swing, we're just going to give him the 1 in the Trafalgar Law. Beckman is going to pop the arrested Zoro, and he's going to go ahead and pass turn. I think we're going to be at 10 non now. Okay, so we're at 8 non. I see. Sorry about the camera angle. I'm still working on it. Got the new stand for Christmas and still trying to figure out the best camera angle. And I love playing at Sages, but their tables are awfully wide, but they do run a lot of Dungeons and Dragons there, so it makes sense. So at this point in the game, I could drop, I think I'm torn between dropping the Sanji and dropping the Sanji and continuing to just run at face as aggressively as I can, or playing the Luffy Taro a little less aggressive, but I think it'll help me be more aggressive later with the Luffy Taro into the what is his name? Sangoro, that's his name. So we're gonna go ahead and poke 6, just getting all this counter out of hand. And as from my experience playing against Shanks and playing Shanks is gonna brick a lot. So seeing this counter go out early, I am thrilled. We're gonna Luffy Taro into Sangoro and pass. just hoping that he doesn't have a way to remove my Son Goro. I want to keep him on board. I want to keep drawing cards in a 6k body. Really easy to swing into Shanks with 6k, because, I mean, they can't just leader effect and nullify it. So my opponent at the 9 Dawn turn, unable to drop the Rush Shanks, which is great, but definitely could have a play in the Dragon or Rayleigh if he sees it. I'm hoping he doesn't see Rayleigh. I think that my board struggles into Rayleigh, so he's going to go ahead and swing 7. I'm going to take that. I'm fine getting cards in my hand, and with Luffy, I really don't mind playing at a low life. But he is going to go ahead and drop the Dragon, giving 2 rested Dawn to Shanks. We are going to give him the 2k in Kamazo and the 1k in Son Goro there, countering out. Our hand is now looking a little less great. But we are going to be at 10 Dawn. I don't think he's swung his... He's still debating on if he wants to swing Dragon, where he wants to swing Dragon. I want to keep my board alive. If he swings Dragon into Zoro, I have to let him go. I just don't have the counter. But if he swings Dragon into Luffy Taro, I can counter that pending. Let's see. I think next turn, there's the potential to drop the 9 cost body. I think is that 9 Mom? I can't tell from this angle if it's 9 Mom or Luffy. But thinking that the Sanji might be a good play, depending on what I draw, I think. I'm going to be real, guys. I totally forgot about this tournament until I was looking through all my videos. I know last video I said we were going to be playing Shanks, but I forgot this tournament. I did say that if I placed well in this tournament, I would dye my hair purple, so you guys will have to see if I dye my hair purple or not. I'm still debating if I actually want to, honestly, but I digress. So that does look like 9 Mom from what I can see from here. My opponent is just taking his time to think about this, so my opponent is a very good One Piece player. Actually got his invite to Nats, is at Nats currently while I'm recording this, but yeah, so he's gonna attach the Dawn to Dragon, it looks like, and swing. Oh no, he's not gonna attach the Dawn. I think he's torn between swinging super aggressively into probably one of my bodies or keeping a Dawn up for like a Rad Beam or a guard point. I really like running the guard point in Shanks. I think it makes sense. I can see the benefit to Rad Beam. I don't hate Rad Beam. But yeah, we'll see. Just taking his time to think. I know this tournament was one of the more competitive experiences I've had in One Piece. I know I did play in a Treasure Cup, but not a Treasure Cup, a Store Treasure Cup, and I was not very... I brought Boa because it was all I had at the time. I didn't expect to get in, etc., etc. But yeah, so he is going to swing 10. And I think he's swinging 10 into Luffy Taro there, which would mean I'd have to give him the 2 cards there. And I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I go ahead and counter out. So is that 9 Mom? That is 9 Mom. So I don't think 9 Mom would be a terrible option. It would heal me. I wouldn't get the removal of his bodies, but as I kind of mentioned earlier, I just want to go fast. So, oh, now we're at 9 Dawn. We must have been now we're at 10 Dawn. We must have been at 9 earlier. So I'm thinking next turn he's gonna get Shanks on the board. So I think that I am gonna go pretty aggressively here. We swing 6, draw a card, and see if my opponent is going to take that. We have a decent amount of counter in hands, but we have a big enough board where I think I can go for game. I know Shanks has a big hand, but I really do feel like Shanks is running a lot of bricks, and I think if I don't win this turn, I lose. So I am swinging pretty aggressively, swinging the 7, swinging the 8 there, and I'm probably gonna go 8, 9, maybe something like that. Just make it hard for my opponent to counter out, especially if he doesn't have a ton of counter. which, as I mentioned, I feel like it is relatively safe to bank on Shanks not having a ton of counter. Of course, you can get totally bamboozled by a Shanks, but so he does end up taking that. He's down to 1 life, and I have 3 swings. I'm feeling really, really confident at this point. We're going to go ahead and swing with lead. 6, 7, 8. We go another 8 with lead. Just trying to see what he has, because, I mean, even worst case scenario, I get, some counter out of his hand. And as I said, I feel like Shanks at endgame is a lot of bricks. So I'm hoping that we can just get there with the aggression that we are providing. I mean, we're both down to 1 life right now, and I've got 4 more Dawn up and 2 more swings. So that could be 8, 10, 10, 10. So 7, 8, 8, 10, 10. And he's going to go ahead and leader ability, and I think that's a 3k counter right there, getting him out of that. Yes, because I swung 8, so 7, 2k, 1k, yep. So he's got a ton of cards in his hand, which definitely has me really worried, but I feel like at this point, I've already gotten so far. I feel like I need to go for game. It's just the question is, how do I go for game? We go ahead and swing 9 at lead, hoping, just trying to see if he has bricks, if he can counter, and he takes this trigger, and he triggers out the Red Hawk, negate it, like minusing Luffy by 10,000, and at that point, I'm like, I think that's game. 2, 3, 5. I think so I ended up keeping the 3 Dawn because I had the Giant, and then if I swung 5 with Law, I think that he had the counter for that. He did use leader ability, so he can't just leader ability out of it. But honestly, at this point, I'm like, Red Hawk kind of secured the game for him. Like, I have to hope he goes for board. He doesn't, so I'm gonna go ahead and Gum out of this, trashing the Lin. It was the Lin. Minusing a couple of Dawn here. I'm hoping that he just thinks I have counter in hand, and he thinks I have more Giants in hand. And I'm hoping that there is a Giant. So we end up countering out on that 9 with the Gum and the 1k. And at this point, I'm like, he's going to drop a Dragon or a Shanks, and I'm cooked, dude. That Red Hawk was so lucky, but really unfortunate on that Red Hawk, honestly, because as I mentioned, my opponent, got us invited to Nats, very good player. I have never gotten this close to beating him. So, Red Hawk saving his skin at the end of the game. Very, very lucky, but, he's a very talented player, and I think that I handled the match pretty well. I don't know. I need to see. I think at the end of the game, we'll see what's in his hand, and see if he could have countered out of a 5. So, yeah, he is going to play another Dragon, and I know I'm super dead at this point. I'm begging I was begging that it is a Gum. It's a 2k, which I don't hate, but the Dragon ending up coming in clutch. So it does look like he was relatively bricked. I can't see what the white cards. He had a little bit of counter. So even swinging 5, he would have been able to counter, I think. So yeah, that was like his hand. He's saying that was his hand. Like, yeah, the Red Hawk. I know he said at one point when we were talking, he said that if that wasn't Red Hawk, he was done, and it was. So bit of a bummer there. Bit of a bummer to lose to the trigger, but that is how the game goes. That is One Piece for you. But overall, pretty happy with how I played. I think there's a potential that I shouldn't have gone for game. Potentially should have maybe played the 9 Mom and healed and kept a Dawn up. Hindsight is 20/20 here. If I knew that was Red Hawk, wouldn't have gone for game, but how can you know? But yeah, that is gonna do it for me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe. If you want to go the extra mile, go ahead, hit the membership button down below. It gets you some cool perks. And yeah, that is going to do it for me, guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.